voting via a drive-through polling station. The decision to go ahead with the Wisconsin primary in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic has brought controversy and confusion.
Voters, staff, and volunteers.
The governor, Democrat Tony Evers, signed an executive order on Monday suspending in-person voting until June. But that was overturned by the state Supreme Court a few hours later. Despite the chaos, voters here were simply keen to get their voices heard.
Well, it's number one, it's our right, and number two, it's my duty. And I chose not to do absentee this year, so I had no other choice.
To be able to have your choice of a matter of what goes on in America doesn't mean you have to stay inside and hide. You still got to be able to make your choices to keep things governing.
Although this polling station was able to manage fairly short lines, that was not the case elsewhere. Officials were forced to close 175 of 180 polling stations in Milwaukee, the state's largest city, due to a lack of polling staff. The decision to go ahead with the vote in Wisconsin could have far-reaching consequences, and not for the usual political reasons. Some local leaders are concerned that voter turnout at the polls could see an uptick in COVID-19 cases across the state. The mayor of Racine, Corey Mason, is a Democrat. He says the Republican-controlled legislature that challenged the governor's executive order to postpone the vote must now face the consequences.
I think everybody's understandably concerned that the election today is going to accelerate the spread of coronavirus in the state of Wisconsin, and I think for local public officials, they're just dumbfounded by what the courts and the Republican majority in the legislature would do in terms of jeopardizing people's health. To do that, you know, they will own the results of what happens today.
Reverend Greg Lewis is president of Souls to the Polls, a group that works to mobilize black voters in Milwaukee. He himself is recovering from COVID-19.
I was in the hospital the other day, and the doctor told me if I didn't do exactly what he said, that I was going to die. And it doesn't really make sense. What is the big deal? Why are we doing this? It is crazy, and it's disenfranchising hundreds of thousands of people.
This is a poll like no other. The integrity of the vote is questionable, and residents across the state will be desperately hoping that the decision to go ahead won't impact efforts to curb the spread of the virus. Dan Williams, CGTN, Racine, Wisconsin.